Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Looks like we're getting a bit of a Sunday pump here, and there actually is news that amplified the pump, which was already underway, which I'll cover at the very beginning of the video. But I'm going to be sharing perspective with you from a ton of different chart analysts, including a number of XRP chart analysts who are calling for double-digit price action. In fact, one says XRP's turn is beginning and predicting $21.50. So despite all, let's just say the uptick in bearish expectations from mostly fly-by-night type chart analysts, these analysts are saying, no, absolutely not. They're steadfast and insisting that we are going to go much, much, much higher. And it's kind of funny how sentiment has kind of flipped over the last few days. Have you noticed that? If you're on social media, you probably have. If you're on X, for example, which is where the XRP community and crypto people live, yeah, it's kind of changed. And we've got a sea of green here. Look at Live Coin Watch. Market cap for the asset class just shy of $3.5 trillion. And look at this, sea of green. Lots of coins up, anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6%. XRP sitting pretty. And yes, something actually did trigger this. Well, it was, again, like I said, it was already going up, but something actually did happen that caused the market to move up even further. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 7:44 p.m. Central Time, Sunday, November 9th, 2025. XRP is up to $2.40. You'd love to see it. Bitcoin just shy of $106,000. And XRP is high as $2.42 just a little bit before I started recording, and Bitcoin was a little above 106,000. It got up to $106,497. So that's the 24-hour chart for XRP and Bitcoin. You can see they're basically the same damn chart. Asset class moves in tandem. This is the same. It's the same thing. But you might notice right about here, around roughly 6 p.m., maybe slightly after that, you may have noticed, if you're looking at the screen, that it gets a little bit more steep. Well, that's because this news broke. Here you can see Cointelegraph is reporting this. Just in, Senate reaches bipartisan deal to end U.S. government shutdown per Politico. And so there you go. One major headwind absolutely obliterated. And this will result, for a number of reasons that I've been highlighting in recent videos, this is going to result in an increase in liquidity. Funds will start flowing. I don't want to go through the whole rigmarole of exactly why I've covered that in recent videos. But yeah, this headwind's gone. It's absolutely gone. Market responding very favorably out the gate here. So hopefully it doesn't turn into a sell the news event. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I knew this was going to happen, obviously, so I'm wondering how many market participants are going to see this and be like, oh, time to sell. I mean, it could. But right now, it has not been the sell the news event. And again, this just happened a little less than 2 hours ago that news broke. So we'll see. It's looking pretty damn good, though. And of course, with the crypto asset class moving in tandem with the stock market, it makes sense to pay attention to historic precedent here. Because history does rhyme with itself. It absolutely does. And so here's a post from Ryan Dietrich. He is the chief market strategist at Carson Group, and he's got some data on the screen right here for you. He says, and this is from this morning, by the way, he said, a lot of panic out there, but don't lose faith in November yet. S&P 500 up 10% year to date. Heading into November, November higher 13 of the past 14 years. Final 2 months of the year higher 16 times in a row. And so you can see this data. It's from 1980 through 2024. And so 13 out of the last 14 times we are similarly situated. And so somebody asked here, and this is what I'm always saying, but this is a great question. Somebody asked here, so past performance does predict future performance. And Ryan Dietrich wrote, he said, usually it does. Exactly. So if you want to say this time is different, a small percentage of the time, you'll be correct. I give you that, which means that I'll be wrong sometimes. Absolutely. But if I just count on history continuing to rhyme with itself, I'm going to be right the vast majority of the time. So yeah, markets are going higher. We're not done. That's my humble opinion. But I'm right. I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe I eat my words, but I'm fairly optimistic that I'm going to be right about this. And so crypto moves in tandem with this. It does, based on historic precedent, absolutely you should expect 2026 to be an up year and for crypto as well, which does mean that the cycle, if that comes to pass, that does mean the cycle has lengthened. And I've talked about that so many videos. I'm not going to end this video. I've talked about it so many videos as to why. It does increasingly look like this is indeed the case. How about this headline too? This is making the rounds on X today. Trump weighs giving Americans $2,000 from tariff revenues in bid for support. Okay, well, if that indeed comes to pass, it could have an impact. I'm not convinced it's going to be like the holy grail here in terms of causing things. I think the market goes up regardless. I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt. But should we expect that a huge chunk of that goes into crypto? Well, not a huge chunk, but some of it, yeah. And there's historic precedent for this. Look at this. This is from March 17th, 2021, from the Harris poll. Nearly 1 in 10 Americans have used stimulus checks to invest in crypto. So yes, some of it is going to make its way to crypto, and that's good. And you know what's kind of funny? Like, so let's say this happens. This could potentially be, depending on the rollout, it could be like hundreds of billions of dollars, right? So some of that would make it to crypto. And then it's funny, if Trump gets smacked down by the Supreme Court, and I'm not getting into the politics of it, I'm just speaking matter-of-factly. If Trump gets smacked down by the Supreme Court and they force the tariffs to be reversed, any tariffs that have been paid, which, mind you, tariffs are taxes. Like, definitionally, they're literally taxes. That's not up for debate. That's just a matter-of-fact statement. Anybody that paid that tax, the tariffs, they'd have to be reimbursed then, which means the government presumably would have to print more money. So think about this. Giving out money, it's a double whammy. Giving out money, some of it makes it to crypto. Some of this 2,000 per person makes it to crypto. And then even more liquidity, because presumably money has to come from somewhere, right? You'd have to print money out of thin air, and then that also enters the ecosystem. And you know some of that's going to trickle on down to crypto too. So it'd just be interesting to see. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I'm not making a political statement there. I'm just telling you, like, the things I just said there are factual, and then I speculated about what the result of that would be. Just to be clear here, I don't want this channel to be political. So I won't be. I only dabbled in politics insofar as it pertains specifically to the economy and crypto and finance, just broadly speaking. Because, you know, I'll tell you what, when politics come to crypto, now you're on my turf. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Here's a post from Crypto Wizard, Bitcoin chart. This is just from this afternoon, 3:02 p.m. He said, few hours away, putting up a fight into weekly close. 23 days, I warned that Bitcoin could test the 50-week EMA and even deviate below. It did. Yet as the world panics, it seems bulls are fighting right where they needed to. It's not over yet, bears. And with the weekly close having occurred now, I think it closes, I could be wrong, but I think it's 6 p.m. Central. Either way, it did happen. It's done. Bitcoin holding above that. You'll love to see it. We are not in a bear market, folks. We just aren't. Here's a post from chart analyst Psychedelic. I actually just recently started following this guy. I had a couple posts that popped up in my feed, and a lot of them resonated with me. And so I wanted to share this with you. By the way, I've actually got a longer one from this guy you're going to absolutely love. He just demolishes the idea that we're in a bear market. I'm going to save that one for a video that's geared in a different direction. This is more about market expectations from various analysts, including some price predictions in this video. So hang tight, because the later part of this video, it's all XRP, including price predictions, which you're going to want to be here for. But I'm a fan of this guy so far. just recently started following him. But here's what he had to say. That's what we wanted to see. And just like that, Bitcoin reverses at the last moment before losing key higher time frame levels. After the majority capitulate, and even bigger accounts flipped bearish, calling for bear market and $70,000 targets, but not Psycho. Lovely reaction here for the weekly close, but still early days on this reversal, and we need to see how things develop. $112,000 levels first target. Then depending on how we react there, we can play it by ear. But make no mistake, the overall direction here is new highs. I hope you held strong. Well, you know what? I did hold strong. Thank you for hoping for me. And so since this is at 5:09 p.m., maybe the close is actually 5 p.m. I was trying to think through it because we just had oh my God, the bane of my existence, daylight saving time. I hate that. I hate it. Where I live in the Midwest, it gets dark at like 4:50, and the days are getting even shorter. Like eventually, at the worst of it, I think it's going to be dark like close to 4:30 p.m. Not far off from that. Completely stupid. I'm going to make a whole separate video just ranting about daylight saving time. That'll get the clicks, right? That's what people come to the Moon Lambo channel for. Irrelevant rants having nothing to do with crypto. Here's a post from chart analyst Ether National talking about Ethereum, which historically does kick off alt season, which is why I'm highlighting this. He says, the retest phase looks nearly complete, with momentum steadily strengthening. RSI continues to hold above the 50 level, confirming that bullish pressure remains dominant. Structure intact, trend confirmed. Ethereum still stands right before a potential major expansion. Well, that wouldn't surprise me. Again, history rhymes with itself. When this thing starts going, you better believe that XRP is going to play ball too. XRP has not done this market cycle. Here's another one from Ethernational. Altcoins are loading. Bitcoin dominance is in a downtrend retest following the recent breakout. ETH BTC pair confirmed its upward breakout. The apparent silence is actually the sound of an impending power shift. And so there you go. And this is also historically what happens. You have Bitcoin dominance breakdown even as the price of Bitcoin goes up. And then you have altcoin dominance rocket, and prices for altcoins, including XRP, move monstrously to the upside. Historically, that has been the case. And so he clearly believes that that's directionally where we're going here, this market cycle as well. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Mustache, altcoins. He says, and people think we really won't see another alt season. They'll be surprised. The chart speaks for itself. And again, back to the concept of history rhyming. Look at what happened last cycle and the cycle before that. Structurally, this clearly is not complete unless this time is different. Famous last words. I'm not counting on that, though. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Malleus. You can see the sentiment here. This is what I keep finding from the analysts that I follow with almost no exceptions. He wrote, some alts popping like crazy is not a bear market thing. This is a fact. Right. And so he posted that the other day. But it's true. There are individual coins popping off. That you don't really tend to see that in bear markets. Like you do see outlier instances where coins can run. Like for instance, I think it was the summer of 2019. Chainlink just started going on a tear, which I was very excited for because I've been holding it since 2017. So, but that was out of, now, mind you, that's not like the depths of the bear market, though. We're out of that. You really don't see coins just popping off once you're actually in a bear market. Not really. I mean, so it's true that, like, yeah, Bitcoin can peak, and then if alt season's going, you can see altcoins that pop and peak after Bitcoin. Like, that's historically very normal. I'm just saying, if you're talking out in the wilderness, out in the middle of nowhere, like just coins going for reasons, like, no, that's not really a thing that happens. And it's just another indication that clearly we're not in a bear market. It's one of a million things you can look at to come to that conclusion. Here's a post from Chart Analyst CW. He says, XRP's turn is beginning. It has bottomed out and is beginning a rebound. This rally will likely surpass its all-time high and head towards the top of Phase 4. And for those of you not looking at the screen, I will note the top of Phase 4 means $21.50 per XRP. He's been insistent. He does believe that there's a very real chance that price is going to be hit. That's his perspective. I don't make price predictions myself, but I do not think that's crazy. I don't know if it's going to hit. That is very reasonable speculation so far as I'm concerned. Markets get crazier when euphoria hits. And we don't know when it's going to happen, but either you have exposure when it happens or you don't. That's the part you control. You don't control when it happens, so let it go. Whether it's now or 4 years from now or 5 years from now, again, I don't think it's going to be that long, but whatever it ends up being, I'm just saying, we don't control that. We don't know for sure, but you are in control to a degree. In the most important way, frankly. You decide whether or not you're participating. You decide whether or not you have exposure to the market when inevitably things get hot. Here's a post from Chart Nerd. He says, XRP is gearing up for a major leg, and he shared that this afternoon. He also believes this is moving to the upside. By the way, if you're looking at the screen, you may notice here, Ethernational, Chart Analyst, was complaining because this chart was hijacked. Just to be clear, it's not Chart Nerd that hijacked it. It was a Monix. This guy, talk about grifter activity. This guy's got 116,000 followers. I see stuff like this from him all the time. He ripped off the chart from Ethernational and removed the watermark at the bottom right. And you can see, like, he shared this some time ago, like weeks ago. And so this Monix guy, he stole it. Chartner didn't know that, and then just was like, yeah, I agree with the sentiment. You can tell that's what he's thinking. And so he reposted that innocently and wrote, XRP is gearing up for a major leg up. And then Ethernational responded, he's like, I guess this friend liked the XRP chart so much that they claimed it by making the watermark invisible. Copyright? That's probably a resistance level too. So you can see in the, well, if you're looking here, I'm not going to make a full screen, I don't need to, but he had a watermark down here and it was eliminated. So good job, Monix. Thanks for being dishonest. I hate people that act like that. I absolutely despise, I detest that. It's just, it's theft. It's intellectual theft, you know? Completely dishonest. How do people like that end up with massive followings? Because he's just happy to lie. He'll blatantly do it. No apologies whatsoever. If you like somebody's chart, yeah, share it, but give them frickin' credit. That's what I do. I don't just take these charts and pretend like these are my own ideas here. I'll say my opinions on them, but I get these perspectives from reputable chart analysts, and I make sure to plaster their names all over the damn thing and give credit where it's due and say their names in my videos. Why can't people just act like that? That's the respectable thing to do. It really grinds my gears, folks. Anyway, here's a post from chart analyst Ali Martinez. The dream scenario, XRP is forming a bullish flag and a dip to $1.90 could be the spark for a rally towards $10. So he seems to think that it's possible you could go lower, but even if so, he's still looking at double-digit price action for XRP this market cycle sooner rather than later. Here's a post from chart analyst Cryptolica. XRP last part, and he's continuing to call. He's been very consistent about this. Nothing's changed. $10 plus for XRP, and he wrote soon. So still coming here, folks. Here's a post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. It says XRP. It says the power of 5 is loading. So he's talking about the fifth wave here. It says, and when it unleashes, it's going to be the most explosive fifth wave yet. It'll be so hated, so disbelieved that the crowd will line up to short it, only to get mercilessly liquidated one by one. Yeah, that won't surprise me at all. And so you can see at the top of that, he's calling for $18.25. That's what he's got charted right here. Not crazy stuff, folks. This is why we're in crypto. It's for that upward volatility. You don't like it when it's to the downside, but you got to take the good with the bad. But the upside, it just keeps trending up and to the right. If you're looking at a chart, you let enough years and decades pass. There's never been an opportunity in the history of our species like this to get wildly wealthy and in such a short time frame, and it's not a scam. Like, that is absolutely wild. Here's a post from Cantonese Cat. It says, as long as 0.886 continues to hold, XRP to $8 is a realistic scenario. Okay, and so that's one of the more conservative price predictions out there. But I don't mind seeing that. I'd be happy with $8. It doesn't mean it's going to stop there either. He's not saying that. Here's a post from Crypto Insight UK. He says, XRP really starting to excite me here. Holding range lows on the daily. Liquidity above us looks like this, with literally no liquidity below us. All whilst the weekly is holding a range above 7-year resistance, and the weekly RSI is now back to the level we saw before we took off last November. And XRP dominance looks like it has a decision to make after completing Wyckoff accumulation. That's some bullish perspective there if I've ever seen it. Again, I can't imagine. It's ridiculous to me to think that it's just over because of reasons. You have to ignore macro. You have to ignore historic precedent. And I see some people doing it. I see some chart guys just like, here's why, here are the chart reasons. And I'm like, okay, what about everything else that we're not talking about? Like, what about macro? What about historic precedent? Does that not matter anymore? Is this time different? Like, I'm not counting on it, folks. And then there's this from chart analyst Zoom. He says, XRP US oil broke into the consolidation zone and found support at the midpoint, the gold line. If it breaks below midpoint, expect XRP to drop to $1.90 to $2. Okay, that's actually the most bearish post I could find, and he's not even saying it's going to happen. It's just within the realm of possibility. Market obviously up at the time that I'm recording this. So I'm just going to keep saying it. Like, I think this is a time where it makes sense to be excited as an XRP holder. And it's time to be excited if you're in the world of crypto. The best days are ahead, not behind us. And if I'm wrong and we have to wait several years or whatever it ends up being to get into another bull market, we're actually entering a bear market, so be it. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to get my life-changing wealth. But again, that's why I keep going back to, I can't control the timing of it. And I'll be wrong sometimes for sure. But I'm going to have exposure. I'm just going to. Now, I think we're going to have a massive blow off top before this ends. Like, the idea of not having an alt season for the first time in history makes no sense. Like humans just are no longer interested in taking profit from Bitcoin and then maximizing profit by rotating that into coins that haven't pumped. Like, that human behavior just doesn't exist anymore because of reasons. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think so, folks. I really don't think so. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.